Hi everyone and welcome to today's lesson. Today we will be talking about conditionals or if clauses. Remember there are four types: zero, first, second and the third one. Today we will be mainly focusing on the second and the third one, but we will also review the other ones. So before we begin, it's very important to remind ourselves about the basic structure of all conditional sentences. Because no matter which conditional are we using, the basic structure is always going to be the same. So we have our condition, which is our if clause, and then we have our result, which is our main clause. Our condition, even though it has subject and a verb, it cannot stand on its own. So for example, if I say, if I were you, you would say to me, so what if you were me? It's not a complete thought. So if you want to have a complete sentence, you would need to have a result. So if I were you, I would watch this lesson. So that's a complete sentence. And by the way, this is our second conditional sentence. But condition and result, they can swap places. So we can have result first and then the condition second. And here we have to pay close attention to the punctuation, because if our if clause is first, then we have comma to separate two clauses. But if we swap the places and we say, I would watch this lesson if I were you, then we don't need comma anymore. Okay, let's now move on and let's talk a bit more about second conditional. Second conditional is used for hypothetical, unreal situations in the present or future. And the structure is if plus past simple in our if clause and would plus infinitive in our main clause. Remember, even though we are talking about present or future, we still use past simple because the situation is not real. So let's look at some examples. If you were an animal, which animal would you be? So you can see here we can use interrogative form to form a sentence. If he were an astronaut, he would visit Mars. If I found a treasure chest, I would be happy. Or we can form a negative sentence saying, if I didn't find treasure chest, I wouldn't be happy. You probably noticed that we're using were instead of was. And this is because the situation is not real. So we are using something what is called subjunctive mode. I want to show you now the difference between the second conditional and the first conditional. Remember how we called our first conditional before? We call it real conditional. So first of all, the structure is different. The structure for the second conditional looks like this. If plus past simple and would plus infinitive in our main clause. And for the first conditional, we have if plus present simple and will plus infinitive in our main clause. So if I say something like, if I won the lottery, I would buy a house on Waiheke Island. This is me dreaming about winning the lottery and buying a house on Waiheke Island. I don't even buy the lottery ticket. I'm just fantasizing what it would be like. But compare that to this sentence. If I win the lottery, I will buy a house on Waiheke Island. I would perhaps use this sentence in a shop while I'm actually buying a ticket and I'm holding a ticket in my hand and saying, if I win the lottery, I will buy a house on Waiheke Island. So do you see the difference? Let's check now how much you remember. So the second conditional is seen by the speakers as impossible or possible situation. It is seen as impossible. That's correct. We which tense we use in the if clause? We use past simple. That's right. And lastly, what do we often use instead of was in the if clause? We use were. That's correct. Excellent. Now I would like to show you one video, but before I do that, I would like you to think about this question. What would you do if you were the last person on earth? You can pause this and think about it, and then come back and we will watch the video together. Are you ready? You thought about the question? Okay, let's watch the video.
August 3rd. 5 weeks, 3 days since the event. In fact, I've come to the conclusion that I am the last surviving human on this planet, for I've neither seen nor heard anything to the contrary. I'm worn out. Why I'm the last I do not know, but I do know that without the company of my fellow man, I see little reason to continue my existence. I'm not keen to face the possibility of injury or illness, or the onset of old age alone. So, from an encyclopedia of poisons and a helpful pharmacy, I've selected a deadly chemical which I am about to drink. It's painless. I'll be dead in minutes. If anyone should ever find this, Happy now, are you?
So, what do you think the man feels now? Do you think now he would say something like, if I had known? Yeah, exactly. And that's our if clause for our third conditional. So what do you think that man is thinking right now? He's probably thinking something like, if I had known the phone would ring, I wouldn't have drank the poison. And here we have our third conditional, which is often used to express regret about some past situation that didn't even happen. And it's unreal because we cannot change the past. So we're just imagining how things would have been different. So we have our imaginary past condition and imaginary past result. And our structure looks like if plus past perfect and would plus present perfect. We can also use other modals instead of would. This can also be done for a second conditional. If I had studied harder, I would have passed the exam. I didn't study harder and I didn't pass the exam. If I knew it was your birthday last week, I would have baked the cake. I didn't know it was your birthday and I didn't bake the cake. Before we start our practice, let's first check your understanding about the third conditional. So, use third conditional to talk about events that happened or did not happen. Didn't happen. That's right. Which emotion does it usually express? It expresses regret. That's correct. Is it used to describe events in present, past, or future? In the past. That's right. There is one more activity I want you to do in order to practice all conditionals. I want you to put the verbs in brackets into correct form. And please pause this video and then come back to check the correct answers. Okay, here are the correct answers. You ready? I hope you did it correctly. And just remember, keep practicing and see you next time.